your moderator for this session. I'd like to say, just a fair warning, this is not a talk show. This is serious stuff, okay? And it caters to the CFOs. And I suppose the audience is essentially a group of CFOs or CFOs to be. And I'm very comfortable to be here. I always like Italy because of people I know. Like, I would like to honor my dear friend, Romano Guelmani. I miss him a lot. And the second Italian I met is my dear friend. I call him my brother because we quarrel and we make up, we debate a lot, and that is Gabriele Fontanesi. And of course, I think we have here Fausto Cosi. And Roberto Manocci. I met him several years ago, and maybe it's seldom you see a small Asian woman, and he remembers me. Okay, we are to start the roundtable session on a very important topic, the developments of the reporting process from the financial to integrated reporting and the changes in the job of the CFO. Allow me to say a few words about the topic. Reporting is a key function of the Chief Finance Officer. It has evolved over time, especially in the last decade, and the recent evolution actually commenced through the International Integrated Reporting Committee that was constituted in the UK, and it became the Integrated International Reporting Council. Let me quote what they say they are. That is the International Integrated Reporting Council. It calls itself a global coalition of regulators, investors, companies, standard setters, the accounting profession, and non-government organizations or NGOs. A framework has been set. It took a while to put it together, and that intends to lead to corporate reporting that present developments in financial governance, management commentary, and sustainability reporting are supposed to be what should be there. The output is meant to aid investors or capitalists in allocating financial capital. So it goes beyond the bottom line that is reported. Just to let you know how old I am, women don't usually disclose that. When I graduated from the university and I prepared for the licensure examination for certified public accountants, we were only preparing for questions on 3 basic financial statements. And the notes to the financial statements could be a page or 2. And the certificate or the short form audit report is what? 3 paragraphs. And we had to memorize it by heart, that I remember my professor saying, you should know it by heart, that even when you're sleeping, you can say all of those things. But now, the changes have been tremendous, that if you see the financial audited or the audited financial reports of companies, especially listed companies, it could be as thick as a book because there are so many disclosures, and that is not yet complete under the integrated reporting. So I would not want to say much about it because you may say, so the report is thick now. Would that justify the increasing fees of auditors? That was my past life. I retired as founder and CEO of Deloitte in the Philippines. So I better be quiet about it. Now, let's go further. Let's deliberate further on the significant topic. We have a powerhouse of panelists, as earlier introduced, and they are all before you. They are not all from Europe. I'm not from Europe. And my dear friend Linda is from another continent. So I think you have quite a spread. Oh, by the way, I have to apologize for my colleague, Juan Alfredo Ortega, who is supposed to be my co-moderator. Unfortunately, he had to leave early morning for Mexico for a personal emergency. So please bear with me. Now, our first presenter, this is how we will do it. There will be 2 PowerPoint presentations. The first one actually is from Marco. And as earlier explained, Marco is the special advisor to the Director of Development Center of OECD based in Italy. As you know, OECD is a known advocate of international integrated reporting. Marco will share his views considering his scope at OECD. So, Marco, you can take the floor. You were treated to quite a buffet of views, but one thing emerges. Integrated reporting is it. We have to embrace it. From the talks, you can see varying adoption. It's a question of when do you think there will be a will there be a global adoption of integrated reporting? And if you see it, what is your forecast? How soon, or will it ever happen? Or the next question is, because there are no set standards. And I think the popular view is that it should not be rules-based, but it should be principles-based. And it should not be based on a checklist that you just say, this is okay, but it is more the substance rather than the form. So, may I give each one 2 minutes because we're over time. just to give the view on whether you see it as being adopted globally, your vision of when and what can accelerate it. The lady was the last speaker, but maybe since she's still fresh on it, I will ask her first.
Thank you, Conchita. I think global adoption, I think it's inevitable that companies that want to move forward and that want to attract international or local investment will have to start reporting more holistically and more broadly, because without that, I honestly don't think you will compete. People need information to decide if they want to invest in you. They need information to decide if they want to buy your products. They need information to decide if they want to give you funding as a financier or a bank. So unless you don't need any of those things, then I would say don't bother. But obviously, most of us do need that. And therefore, I think in a way it's inevitable that there'll be adoption. Standards I spoke about, I think there's enough guidelines. I'm anti very strict standards because I think that will actually not necessarily give the appropriate picture.
Thank you. May I ask Fernando?
Sure, I agree with Linda. I think there's markets, there is investors out there, stakeholders, and there is your community, your product, and how your product and your community interact.